everybody. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Eric Altman, sales engineer at Vodia Networks. And today we're going to talk about Vodia service flags. Built right into the system, these service flags can be used for things like changing the call flow or how a call is handled based on business hours and off hours, syncing with your Google Calendar, and scheduling a paging announcement. Now, one of the key benefits of the service flag is their ability to separate work and home life. With a large amount of people seeing working from home as something that's not going away anytime soon, service flags provide you with the ability to complete your workday when your business hours dictate and not be in the position where you're working from home past the normal business hours that you would normally be working at in the office. Service flags are account-based, so one service flag can be used on multiple accounts. That's not easy for our competitors to replicate. So there can be a home office service flag account for remote users, and that same service flag can be used for hunt groups, agent groups, or even the auto attendant. If you have on-call workers, you can set up a night service where after 5 o'clock, calls can be sent to the person covering business after hours. And on the auto attendants, we can have a service flag set up on an auto attendant so that when that service flag is active, the auto attendant that's called can play a recording, things like directions or business hours or other pertinent information. When we talk about service flags, it should be noted that these can be operated either automatically or manually. Now, manually will require a user, usually a manager, the office manager, or the receptionist, to press a button on their phone or directly dial the service flag account number to activate or deactivate it. With automatic mode, the service flag activates on its own based on predefined business hours. Each service flag can be set up individually so that you can have multiple service flags on one system where some of them are automatic and some of them are manual. If you have hunt groups or agent groups that serve different purposes, such as normal day, extra busy day, a shorthanded staff day, you can manually switch to the hunt group you need at any time. Quickly shifting between plans can allow you to reallocate calls, services, and staff on the fly. And again, it's just the one service flag account that can be used for different groups, users, and auto attendants. From a programming standpoint, it makes it easy to set up. Build your users and groups, and then give someone permission to activate that service flag based on the needs that day. When we talk about manually activating or deactivating service flags, the permission to do that can be given to managers on site or even remotely. So if a manager is working from home and gets a message from one of their employees that the sales line is ringing off the hook, that manager working from home can easily activate a service flag that expands the amount of users or agents that are available to take incoming calls. Or the opposite, on a really slow day, a remote manager can activate a service flag that shrinks the size of the group answering calls and frees up Bill or Betty to work on other projects rather than always being available for the group calls. With auto attendants, the greetings as heard by the caller can be changed based on the time of day. You can set it up so that it plays a night greeting after 5. You've reached us outside of business hours. No one's available to take your call. And in addition to that, the calls can be routed differently. So instead of giving the caller the option to go to a department that's closed now, the greeting that's invoked by activating that service flag might continue on to say, please hold a moment while we transfer you to our general mailbox. Or please hold while we locate the support engineer on call this evening. One of the keys here is to have multiple auto attendants with different greetings and different options already set up for certain situations. Day, night, lunchtime, weekend, snow day. With those other auto attendants already built and in the system, it's easy to automatically or manually switch to them with one button press or one click. To create a service flag, from the domain level of the admin on the left side, click on Service Flags. Choose Add, then in the pop-up window, give it an account name or extension and a display name, and click Create. Again, once created, they can be used in multiple places on the PBX. Now, once you've created it, you'll define the parameters. The first is mode. The service flag can be controlled either manually or automatically. Manually, 3 methods are available for activating or deactivating a manual service flag. Dialing the service flag account number from the phone, configuring a service flag button on your phone, or third, using the current state setting from the service flag account page. The current state, now this setting is reserved for manual mode only, and basically there's just 2 options. You're going to choose set to activate the service flag and clear to deactivate it. The confirmation tone. So you choose the confirmation sound you'd like to hear when turning the service flag on or off. You've got a beep tone where the system will play a short beep to indicate that the service flag has been set or cleared, meaning service is active or inactive, or it's day or night. And you can choose the extensions that may change status. So you enter the extensions that are permitted to change the service flag. If you use an asterisk here, that indicates that all users are permitted to change the status. So you can easily set it up with just an asterisk so that all users can change the status, but then create a PIN code that's required to change it, and only give that PIN code to the person or people that you want to allow that for. This is also useful when calling from the outside, where the PBX doesn't necessarily associate an extension with the caller. Then you have a setting, permissions to monitor this count. This setting defines which extensions can monitor the status of this account, for example, with a BLF button. By default, all extensions are allowed to see the status of an account. This setting is a list of extensions and wildcard patterns separated by spaces. The time zone for the service flag, the default is to use the time zone of the domain. Syncing Google Calendar to import holidays. Now, this feature allows you to sync a Google account with a service flag so it can sync the holidays into the list of holidays field from your Google Calendar according to the calendar name you've set. Before you can sync a service flag in a domain with your Google account, you have to obtain the client ID and client secret for that domain and enter it into the PBX domain settings. This process is explained in detail in our documentation, and that's at doc.vodia.com/Google contacts. And then there's a heading that says obtain client ID and client secret. So go in there, set that up, and then you'll be all set to tie the Google Calendar to a service flag. And then the automatic paging. So the page account, that's the last field to configure, is the paging account to set up automatic paging. In this field, you're just entering the paging account number that'll be used. With service flags that are set to the automatic mode, you can specify when this service flag will be inactive or active. In the example on the screen, from Monday through Friday, by specifying times when the flag is not active, that will activate the automatic service flag outside of business hours. You can also set it to specifying when it is active and you want calls to be redirected. So with the automatic service flag holidays, entering holiday hours in a list of holidays or syncing with your Google holiday calendar, that's going to automatically activate the service flags on those holidays. The PBX will also auto-populate those holidays in the Google holiday calendar if any specially created holidays are added. So you can go in there and create holidays in your calendar. Those will automatically be auto-populated. Auto attendant announcement selection. So you can mix and match service flags. Basically, you can have your regular office hours 9 to 5 service flag account, but also activate other service flag accounts that can be used as greetings. So the first service flag in the auto attendant is going to play first based on the time of day, but then your secondary service flag account will kick in and play the after hours message automatically, for example, after 5 p.m. So the visual indication, when you activate a service flag or deactivate one, the system sends a message to selected phones, those that can monitor the account, where a designated LED will light up to indicate that the service flag is active or inactive. This way, managers on site or remote can view that service flag activity. Working remotely is the new norm, and again, it's not going away anytime soon. The Vodia service flags make it so that when that service flag is active, say for after business hours, home users will not receive calls. Additionally, users themselves can define when calls get forwarded to their cell phone through the user portal or the Windows app. This way, if they need to take an after hours call that day, they can choose the after hours service flag as a time when calls do get forwarded to their cell phone. And that's something that can be set by the user. Scheduling paging announcements. So this feature lets you hook into the service flag scheduler so that you can schedule when an announcement is made through the paging account. This is great for time-based announcements of internal or external events at universities, schools, factories, office buildings, even hospitals. Now, another setting that can be time-based and use a service flag is the dial plan. You can assign a service flag account to, say, not allow any more outbound calls at a specific time. For example, international calls are not allowed after 5 p.m. This could protect your customers from after-hours fraudulent calls. So that's another place we can put that service flag. Linking a service flag to an account. Now, once a service flag has been created, you'll use it to redirect callers or play a message. The screen you see here is how we attach service flags to an auto attendant. So they can be set up to go to a night service number, for example, or to an account that will just play a message saying you're closed or unavailable. Calling the service flag. So in manual mode, calling a service flag simply toggles the state. Depending on the state, the PBX plays a different confirmation tone. If a device is subscribed to the service flag state, i.e. has permission to monitor this account, it'll change the LED color on the phone. And the phone buttons can be configured to support multiple service flag accounts all on one phone. So moving away from service flags for a second here, I want to let you all know that the Vodia PBX is now available on the DigitalOcean Marketplace. This is a great way for you and your customers to run scenarios with the PBX, test the apps, and our Microsoft Teams integration. This is our true multi-tenant edition. It's built on a Debian-based 64-bit system. You bring your own SIP trunks and phones and Vodia license, and you can run our PBX on DigitalOcean's reliable infrastructure. This is readily available for you to test on DigitalOcean. And lastly here, if you do have any support inquiries, please send your request to support@vodia.com. You can also open support tickets at vodia.zamad.com. Our documentation is available from our regular website. Go to doc.vodia.com for answers to all your technical questions. And if you're looking to do onboarding, contact sales, you can reach us at sales@vodia.com. And that's what I got for you today. Hopefully this was informative. Service flags, again, getting creative. You can find a lot of ways to use these and have the calls routed the way you want them to be routed, have greetings played when you want them to play. There's a lot you can do here. So I leave it up to you guys to take what you saw here and then get creative with it and use it in those situations where you can automatically set one for time-based, or it's something that's manually set by one of the managers. Now I'm going to go ahead and go over to the chat if anybody has any questions. you can ask those. I'm looking at the history here, and it looks like we've had our people on there so that they can answer those questions. So I'm looking at the questions now, and it looks like everything that was written here has been answered. Police notes, just kind of scrolling through here. And we are making this available on YouTube, so you guys can all get to it. That'll be available probably either later today or tomorrow. It'll be on YouTube. All right. I'll give it a couple more minutes in case anybody has any questions. Okay, so I see one here. Can I see the status flags in the soft phone? So I'm assuming they're talking about in the Windows app. I don't believe you're going to see those in the app. I think you're asking if it's going to change something on the status on the screen. Hamlet just responded, not at the moment. So currently that's not available in the Windows app to see that, but it is available as LED light on your phone. So somebody's asking, what are the methods for users to change the flag status remotely from home without a VoIP phone? So as long as they have the permissions to do so, they can call into the system. It doesn't necessarily have to be a VoIP phone. They call into the system and they can call that extension right from there, and that will actually toggle that. Yeah, and the mobile phone can be twinned, with your extension, so you can just call right from there and turn it on and off. So, and Hamlet mentioned that the number calling has to be part of your extension. So basically, we have it set up where you can call in, the system recognizes your cell phone as part of your extension. And in that case, you're basically logged in, even though you're not on a VoIP phone, you're on your cell phone. And at that point, you can go ahead and toggle the service flag from there. Somebody's asking, do you select the option for go to auto attendant and then you can enter the flag? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I'm getting answers left and right. But no, the best case scenario is to be part of the system. So basically, you dial just directly to that service flag account. That's what's going to toggle it on and toggle it off. So you just hit that extension and that will turn it on or turn it off, activate or deactivate. And Hamlet's explaining over here on the chat that technically, yes, you could call in from a phone that's not part of your extension. It gets kind of messy that way. You need to use these to get into your mailbox and then go from there. But we would always recommend that you're calling either from your VoIP phone at home or your cell phone that's attached to your account. That's going to make it the easiest because then it's no different than you being in the office and just calling that service flag. Or the app, yeah, you can do it. You can definitely call from the app. So you just by calling that extension from Windows app or mobile app, once you call that service flag, that will toggle it. All right, give it one more minute for any other questions. But someone's mentioning that, yes, if you're integrating with Teams, you could potentially call it from Teams using the Teams communicator. So, all you're really doing with the service flag is calling that extension to turn it on or turn it off. So someone's asking, in a situation where you want an auto set flag and a manual flag to do the same thing. So for example, you're closing the office early. What's the best practice for setup? I mean, manual is going to be the best practice there because that's something that you can toggle on and off. I mean, I would just go manual. I wouldn't even set the automatic flag because that's just going to get messy. And again, it's automatically maybe turning off because you turned it on. So that could turn into a mess. And in that type of situation where you don't have the set time where you want this to go on, or that day you plan to be leaving early, set it up manually. And one button, you can configure a phone button right before you leave the office or you're leaving early, press that button, boom, service flag is active. Okay. All right, I think that should do it for now. Again, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to contact us. You can contact the sales@vodia.com. We can answer it. We'll answer it for you. Support@vodia.com if you're trying to set it up and having any difficulties at all. Don't be afraid to call us for help or for any questions that you might have coming up. And like I mentioned, this will be posted on YouTube either later today or tomorrow, so you guys can come back and look at this again, even show it to your customers to talk about some of the things that you can do for them. All right, I thank everybody for watching, and have a great day out there. Thank you.